Hi guys, so this is going to be our infection control lesson here today. I'm going to help you just go through the slides and I'll be going at a bit of pace, but there is another little option there where you can just look at the slides by yourself and do it at your own pace. So infection control, quite ironic considering it's a coronavirus right now. So yeah, let's get into it. So what is infection control? Infection control helps what stops spread of diseases. It helps keeps us safe and it helps keep our clients safe. We can talk about practical things on how to do this and what we can all do to help stop the spread of certain infections. Real quite general, but also understanding it in a bit more detail. I'll have to get my screen out of the way, eh? Okay, so you can go through this in your own time as well. But what are the transmissions of infection control? There are many types of microorganisms, and what these microorganisms are, there are lots of different types of them. You can have a bacteria, a virus, a protozoa, a fungi, and an algae. Now, bacteria, viruses, and fungi are our major ones here, especially in healthcare. The other ones, more airborne and not so much, but you may still find them as well. So they are your types of microorganisms. And these microorganisms can cause infection in many ways. You've all heard of certain things. Who's more likely to who's going to be your susceptible host? Well, right now, think of what's happening right now with the coronavirus. Who are more likely to get it and not be able to fight for it? The susceptible host could be someone with a low immune system, probably someone that has an existing condition, especially with lungs right now with coronavirus. The elderly, because they don't have the same amount of immune system as us, and also the young. The young are still developing their immune system. So they're the ones that are at risk, and they're the susceptible hosts of not being able to fight any of these microorganisms. How do we pass these microorganisms on to each other? So right now, always relating back to today, the coronavirus, you can have direct contact. What do we have to do? We have to wash our hands. They're saying that the virus can live on our hands for 4 hours. It's gone up again to so many days as well. So direct contact, whether it's touching, feeling, kissing, any way, shape or form, is how we can spread this coronavirus, but it's also how we can spread many other viruses as well, and bacteria, but especially viruses. Indirect contact or indirect infection is just like today. If I've got it and I've wiped my nose and I've picked something up, put it down, or a water bottle, and then you've picked it up, that is indirect contact. So basically touching where someone else has laid that virus that is active for a while, isn't it? So we need to keep clean. That's why hand sanitizer is going out of stock, cleaning equipment's going out of stock. Toy of my library had to wipe and disinfect every single book that was touched. It took them ages. Airborne. This coronavirus is actually, I haven't got it, is also airborne. They're saying a limited of 2 meters. But you picture on a windy day, and you're walking towards the wind and you sneeze or you cough, that virus will definitely go a lot more than 2 meters. But in a closed environment, like in the hospitals, 2 meters without it being lifted by nature. Vector-borne is all like your mosquitoes, your flies. They can land on certain bacteria and viruses and spread it around. Your mozzies and so forth like that. Cool. So there's some ways that things can be passed on. Here's it in more detail, and you can just go over this in your own time, okay? And just read it into a bit of detail if that's okay. Like I say, I've got this PowerPoint up on another link. Cool. All right. Think of some ways that we can prevent this. Well, washing your hands right now is priority. Washing your hands correctly with water and with soap and for 20 seconds. Regular cleaning of your environment, okay? So after you've been in the car and you've been to the supermarket, wiping that steering wheel again and washing your hands. In your workplace, you'll have policies and procedures that has to follow certain infection control standards, and you will be trained on that for every particular subject as well. So if someone has urinated, if someone's feces, how to clean the commode, if someone has vomited, blood spills, everyone has a different procedure. So you'll be educated on that. And plus I have some links here as well. How else can it be prevented? We need to keep healthy. Okay, we need to, if we're not well, we need to make sure we blow our nose. We need to make sure that we cough in a tissue and so forth. So just general things like that. And what does an infection need to survive? Okay, most viruses and infections need to have something warm, moist, and they need to have a host, something to feed on. Going back to the coronavirus has to feed on lung tissue, on lung cells. Once they get on there, they're on fire. Okay, so every single virus, bacteria, fungi has to have a certain environment to survive, and we want to eliminate that. So we want to make sure we can try and stop them going to where they want to go to survive. So just a few little things there. Identify some ways. In your book it says where you reduce the spread of infection, and that will be, you could say, for instance, washing your hands, and how will that do that? Keeping your area clean, how you do that? Keeping yourself well, how are you going to implement that as well, and so forth. You write down whatever you see fit. All right. Certain protective equipment and certain ways, again, we can stop the spread of any microorganisms. You'll see the gloves and the hand washing and the masks everywhere. Okay, so that's even around locally, and you can see why. The mask for corona, as you probably know, it's not about letting so much the virus getting in. It's about you stopping you touching your hands to your mouth, that's where the virus wants to go, is in your nose and your mouth. So that's the priority of the mask, is to stop you touching in case you had something on your hands. If you do have a cough, it is good to use, but they say it only lasts after about an hour of coughing. It's all moist, and that's where the virus actually can grow even more so. So they need to be changing it more often. So it does have its uses. Gloves have their uses. Once you've worn them, though, and you've been around the supermarket, you have to take them off and put a new pair on, because the virus can sit on your gloves. It's almost better just to wash your hands. And there's a few other things in there for you too. Covering broken skin so no bacteria can get into it and so forth. Let's go to the next one. Oh, what does a pathogen need to survive? Well, we just briefly talked about that. So I would like you to read through that in the PowerPoint you can download as well, without me talking in the background. So it needs to have some sort of thing of food to survive, perfect environment. Coronavirus takes longer to reproduce itself than influenza did. And because it takes longer, this is this 2-week stand down. Influenza showed signs so quickly. Okay, so they managed to get on top of it a bit quickly, even though thousands and thousands of people died. Perfect temperature, still has to have oxygen to function. And yeah, loves to have warm, moisty areas. When you're back at Toyo Homai, we are going to do hand washing techniques and watch all of you. So get practice in that with hand rubs as well. And we're going to actually get you putting on masks, putting on gloves, putting on gowns, and how you don them and remove them. That's putting them on. And then the main thing is taking them off safely, okay, without contamination. So there are going to be some procedures you're going to follow there. I've got some online fantastic tools for you to practice. So if you can grab a pair of gloves or a plastic gown and bring them home, that would be fantastic. I might even get you to video yourselves doing it and email it or Dropboxing it to me. And we can pass you like that too. There you go. Something you see probably every day above your wash sinks and hand rubs. Never forget the procedure. I bet you know it all by hand. Okay, in your workbook, it's got here about pathogen types. Name an example of the pathogen and how it would spread. So the virus, please put down corona. Okay, the coronavirus is a type of virus. And how does that spread? You know how it spreads. It spreads by direct contact, it spreads by indirect contact, and it spreads by airborne contact. Cool, and then you're going to go through fungus, going to go through bacteria, and go through parasite. You may have to use the internet to do a bit of research, but it's nice, simple questions too. Question number 5 moments of hand washing. This needs to be drilled in. You've probably seen these posters before as well. So you're going to get used to it. You always got to wash your hands before you have any contact. You might be talking and doing certain bits and bobs, but once you have to do any procedure, even though you've washed your hands before going in, they often say you have to wash your hands again, or even an alcohol rub. After you've done your task, your procedure, whatever it might have been, you need to wash your hands again. And that's on number 3. Number 4, after patient contact. Number 3 is only if you've gone to body fluids, isn't it? And then number 5, after the contact with the patients and all of the surroundings, just as you're leaving, that's when they want you to wash them again. So this is if you have all the bells and whistles, if you are doing colostomy bags or you're doing uric catheters, which we're actually not at the moment. But some of you will be chucked into the deep end in this time because you're all going to be hands-on and RNs are going to be pulled left, right and centre. So you might be put out of your comfort zone. And as long as you get the right training and you're onto it and you do research, you're going to be absolutely amazing. And these are the 5 washing hand scenarios that you will need to do if you are doing those in-depth procedures. All right. So I've got a link here. Oh, I need to move myself. How do I move myself? I've got a link here. You can copy and paste it from the other PowerPoints I'd like you to download. It tells you here all about different types of personal protective equipment, when you should use it, why you should use it, how you put it on, how you take it off. So donning means putting it on and removing means removing of it correctly. I found a coronavirus hospital healthcare YouTube clip. It's only 6 minutes long and it's fantastic. So if you want to go onto that, I'd appreciate it. I will put the link up by itself as well, just so I can make sure you all access it. So a nice little poster there for you to see. Not that clear. I can see it's not that clear, so I'll get the original link forwarded too. But there's many out there. Oh, it's frozen.